Russia's barrage over Kyiv was short but intense, involving almost 600 drones and over 30 missiles. Vladimir Putin thumbing his nose at Western leaders, as if peace talks in Alaska hadn't happened, or that they'd given him a free pass to carry on bombing. A 5-story apartment building was destroyed, though most of the incoming Russian weapons were shot down. At least 19 people were killed across Ukraine's capital, including 4 children, and dozens more were injured. The Kremlin claimed today that it's interested in keeping on talking, that it doesn't deliberately target civilians, though when they are killed, it doesn't seem to fear any consequences.
Honestly, it has never happened before that they attacked so close to me. In any case, everyone is suffering now. It can come to any area, as you can see. No negotiations have yielded anything yet.
Describing this meeting in Alaska as a negotiation may be an overstatement, because it ended with no ceasefire, no time frame on peace talks, and no new sanctions on Russia's leader, who as a result has been free to continue with his invasion. It was Donald Trump who gave Mr Putin what he wanted, but instead of admitting that it's not brought peace, he's now sounding mystified and more annoyed than angry.
Every conversation I have with him is a good conversation, and then unfortunately a bomb is loaded up into Kyiv or someplace, and then I get very angry about it. I think we're going to get the war done. It's tough. I thought that would be, of the 7 that I settled, I thought that would be the easiest of the group. See, you never know what's going to happen. You know, war, strange things happen in war.
This was one of 2 missiles which struck 50 metres from the European Union diplomatic mission in Kyiv, though none of its staff were hurt. Brussels responded with talk of a 19th round of sanctions against Russia, and with that the ever-present risk that divisions between Europe and America become more obvious.
I'm outraged by the attack on Kyiv, also hitting our EU offices. It shows that the Kremlin will stop at nothing to terrorize Ukraine, blindly killing civilians, men, women and children, and even targeting the European Union.
The British Council was also badly damaged in this attack, which Keir Starmer said sabotaged hopes of peace. The risk for Ukrainian leaders is that directly asking Donald Trump for a tough response enrages him into doing the opposite. So a call for unity is far safer.
Our strength lies in our unity with our European partners and the United States, and together we can repel this invasion. This means modern weapons, tough sanctions and pressure from the international community to end this horror.
In London, the Russian ambassador was summoned to the Foreign Office for a dressing down. The Russians don't recognise the sovereignty of Ukraine or the legitimacy of its president. And, as if to emphasise the point, Russia's defence minister was filmed meeting trainee drone operators in a location the Russians said was inside Ukraine itself. And Vladimir Putin today pressing home his military advantage and carrying on the killing, apparently conceding nothing so far, and believing for now that Donald Trump is not going to stand in his way.
Well, joining me now from Kyiv is Igor Zhokva, a close aide to Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and the deputy head of the Office of the President. He accompanied the President on his recent visit to Washington. Igor, it's good to have you back on the programme. You were in the White House with Zelenskyy, your boss, and with the European leaders and with Donald Trump. Does all that now look to you like a waste of time and words?
No, Matt, certainly not. It was not a waste of time. It was rather unique visit, because it's President Trump himself who said that never ever had experience, or the US had experience of having so many European leaders at one place in the White House and the Oval Office at the same time, dealing with a very important matter, how to bring just and lasting peace to Ukraine. All the day long, President Trump, together with the European presidents and prime ministers, spent time to discuss different formats. First, it was a bilateral with my president, then it was collective meeting with European leaders, then he talked to Putin, and then he talked back to leaders how to bring peace. That was not useless. That was rather good in the results, in the atmosphere. But what is happening now is that Putin, as always, is not delivering. Putin is cheating. Putin is lying. Putin is killing, continuing to kill Ukrainians, like he did this slide last night. 21 killed as of now, including 4 children. He is clearly saying no to everyone, to the European leaders, to President Trump himself, continuing the war.
But the only way that he might be forced to listen then would be with an application of more American power, more American weapons, tougher sanctions, both against Russia and secondary sanctions against countries like India. But that's not happening to the extent that it would persuade him to listen, is it?
That was part of the debate back in DC, because the European leaders were talking, among other things, among security guarantees for Ukraine, among how to bring the ceasefire and then the just and lasting peace. One of the key topics was how to exert even more pressure on Russia. Yes, by imposing sanctions. And EU leaders are a very good example here today, because just recently there was adopted the 19th package of sanctions, and already today the 19th package is being prepared. Right, you are. President Ursula von der Leyen was talking today about this, and she was speaking with my president today, and she confirmed to him that EU will not be shy to introduce in a very soon manner the 19th package of sanctions, severe sanctions, including secondary sanctions, including sanctions against energy. UK could also follow this example, which UK always do. But yes, we talked with President Trump that if Russia is not delivering, if Russia doesn't want to have a ceasefire or a just lasting peace, if Russia is not willing to take negotiations in any format, because it was Putin, as we understood, who agreed to the bilateral talks with my president. My president agrees on this. And we also discussed trilateral format possible with the participation of President Trump and with the participation of European leaders, if possible. But nothing is happening. If nothing is done yet,
but I wonder if one of the problems, Igor, is that President Trump blows hot and cold, and now he seems to be shrugging his shoulder. You know, maybe they'll meet Zelensky and Putin, maybe they won't, maybe the war will stop, maybe it won't. I mean, this sort of shoulder-shrugging ambiguity isn't really helping you, is it?
I was not witnessing this during the negotiations. On the contrary, President Trump was very decisive in discussing, for instance, what is needed for security guarantees for Ukraine. Yes, he was talking not only about the input of the US, but also about the input of the European countries. He was talking about the Ukrainian armed forces. He was talking about production lines in Ukraine, military technical industry in Ukraine, including the drones and other types of weaponry. I think he was much more interested in how to help and to understand the broader picture, which each and every leader who was present in the White House was ready to give to him, because it's one thing that only my president is talking to him, but at the same time, 7 other leaders were talking to him about the same topics, the same subject, in the same words, bringing his attention to what is needed to be done to establish a real, lasting peace in Ukraine.
But these are words. What about the actions?
We will be looking forward to the actions. And once again, I mean, today what was happening, I think, should give a clear picture to all of us. For all of us, I mean, European leaders, President Trump, other global leaders, by the way, who will be getting together in the end of this week in China for this Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is not the desire of Putin to stop killing. I'm quoting, President Trump, who's telling about stop killing, but this is rather about prolonging the war. So this is the united response which we would like to have. By the way, the global South countries, and you heard my president today in the morning, he was talking about the position of China, for instance. He was talking about the position of other countries. You cannot talk about only one country, a number of. This is the whole world who suffers from Russian aggression.
Okay.
And the world should respond.
All right. In one word, Igor Zhokva, does Donald Trump so far deserve the Nobel Peace Prize? He thinks he does. What do you think? Yes or no?
It's not for me to decide. What I can answer you in one word or several words: President Trump is paying utmost efforts to bring peace to my country, and we really appreciate it.